it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Sexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button right now. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it as we're going along. So, yes, what do you do if everyone wants sex and hookups and you're a sex repulsed asexual? Dating out there is very, very tough at the moment. It's really hard to find someone who wants a serious, committed relationship. And to be quite frank with you, today I have felt a bit down, which I don't usually get down with dating that often, because I always know that some other person's actions or opinions or what they are looking for is no reflection of yourself. And I think that's a very important thing to tell yourself and remember, that just because someone rejects you or just because someone wants something that you don't want doesn't mean to say there's anything wrong with you. I am on Facebook dating and Badoo, and it is absolutely so difficult at the moment. I mean, the majority of people on there, if not nearly all of them, are looking for hookups and sex. And I started messaging a British guy on Facebook dating who in his bio said he was interested in older women. He wants to have a date with an older woman. And I'm a sex repulsed asexual. So I put this in my bio that I'm asexual, not interested in sex, marriage, or kids, but I am looking for a serious relationship, but monogamous without sex. And I like kissing and cuddling in a relationship, right? So I put all this down, don't want sex, marriage, or kids, or to live together. And this guy, it was really weird because he was when he was talking to me, it wasn't like he really was into older women. It was really strange. He was acting like he was 21, but when I talk to foreign guys, a guy who's 21 who's foreign seems a lot more mature for his age than this British guy. Like when I talk to a guy who's 21, who's like Indian, for example, he seems to have a much older soul. The majority of the guys I speak to, they seem to have an older way of talking, like a really adult way of talking. Whereas this guy, he was British and he did talk more like a kid. It was really weird. It was a bit off-putting, that. But I thought maybe he's just not interested in me. But from his bio, it's weird because he made it clear that he likes older women, he gets on with older people. But then again, I don't really act older, so maybe that's why. But I was messaging him, and then he's like, "Oh, I've never been clubbing." And I said something to him, and then he said, "Oh, well, you like younger guys, do you then?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, to be fair, I like older people." And I'm like, "Well, older girl that likes younger guys needs the younger guy that likes older girls." To me, it's logical. It's like, of course, if I'm an older girl and I'm talking to a younger guy, it's because I like younger guys. But some people don't mind about birth certificate age. So I did say that to him, like, unless someone doesn't care about birth certificate age, then an older girl would like younger guys and she'd need a younger guy that liked older girls. It's kind of common sense, isn't it? Well, it seems like common sense is out the window where dating's concerned at the moment. And the other guys that I've spoke to, like the ones that well, particularly the one I had on Badoo that was into an older woman, he specifically was looking at people nearby and specifically was looking for older women and specifically went in my inbox to message me and start a conversation. And that he was 20 actually, so he was younger, but he was British, but he seemed more mature in terms of talking to an older woman, older girl, because he was serious that he really likes older girls. Whereas the guy on Facebook dating, it was all in his bio how much he likes older people, older girls, but it was like clearly he's not used to speaking to one. They're like two completely different energies. The guy on Badoo, he was really he knows how to speak to an older woman, and treat her with respect and be very positive. This was a while ago that I spoke to the British guy by a video date on Badoo, right? But in complete contrast to the younger guy on Facebook dating, that was kind of more acting like a kid. I don't treat guys who are 21 like children or kids or like younger than that, because I think they're young adults, right? Which is true. But the way he was talking, it was more like he was talking to an older person. It's really weird. I didn't like that very much. But he hadn't even read my bio. And so I said I said, well, clearly you haven't read my bio then, if he doesn't even know I like younger guys. Like, why would I be talking to a younger guy unless I'm into younger guys? It makes no sense. And he's like, and then he's like, oh, well, I wouldn't be what you're looking for then, because I'm looking for a hookup. And that really disappointed me, because I checked him out. Shows himself on social media, on Instagram, Facebook. He's very open. He seems to come from a decent family, and he seemed to actually be a nice guy from what I saw on his social media. And then he's simply like, well, we wouldn't be suitable then, after I had to provoke him into reading my bio because he hadn't bothered to read it. I think it's so rude when people don't bother to read your bio when you've exchanged a few messages. It's like, if I got a guy interested in me, I automatically would go to his bio first to see what he's about. But these people just aren't doing that, which is so bad. It's like, you can't even have the decency to look at someone's bio. How the hell can you have a healthy relationship, which obviously they don't want? They just want sex. And this really disappointed me, that this 21-year-old, like, he was, because of his way his profile was, and he said he liked older women, and because of how decent he looked on social media, like, he wasn't covering himself up. He had loads of really nice pictures. I think a mate of his that's into photography did it. He's got his pictures of his parents, and he's got stuff with his friends. He's really, really open, and he looked like he was a really nice guy. And then he's like, I'm just looking for a hookup, that's it, without reading my bio first and then saying that to me. And it's like, how can you be so insensitive and just use women's bodies like that? I mean, it does really disappoint me, to be honest. I know that we're predominantly living in a mostly heterosexual world, but even so, like, when I was in heterosexual relationships in the past, and I thought I was heterosexual for years. I was in heterosexual relationships for years, and I thought I was heterosexual for years, right? And throughout that time, I would never just hook up with a guy and have sex with him. Like, sex is one of the most intimate acts you can do with someone. And I don't want sex. I'm a sex repulsed asexual for me these days. But if I had or did ever have it again, which I don't see myself ever doing, it would only be in a really serious, loving, caring, committed relationship, secure relationship, not just hooking up with someone and, like, being next to someone's body like that I don't even know. It's just gross to me. It's so gross. And as a sex repulsed asexual, we can't stop the world and the people from being into sex and wanting hookups. But it is hugely disappointing. I'm absolutely shocked that the majority of people I'm coming across on dating apps are into sex and hookups so much. The reason I'm so shocked about this, which some people won't be, is because statistically, a lot of people are finding relationships through dating apps and dating sites these days. It's still one of the most common ways these days to meet someone and to end up in a relationship, and assumably not everyone is wanting hookups then if they're looking for an actual relationship. But I was also disappointed because I was talking to a foreign guy on Facebook dating, and he hadn't even read my bio, and we've been exchanging a few messages like over the last couple of days. And it's like, why wouldn't you check out someone's bio? Why wouldn't you give them decency to read it? It's like, oh, well, you live 5 hours away from me. It's like, so you can't even be asked to get on a train. It's actually 3.5 hours from London to my city on the train most of the time. Sometimes it's 3 hours, 45 minutes. Sometimes it's 2 hours, 40 minutes, right? But it's like, you can't be asked to just get on a train for someone. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just, like, really bad. And it did make me feel down today, right? I don't usually let dating get to me, but as a sex repulsed asexual, and all you keep getting is people wanting sex and hookups, obviously you've got to remember that not everyone is like this. You have to keep telling yourself not everyone is into hooking up. And obviously there are a lot of asexuals that do want a relationship without sex. I find the difficulty with asexuals is a lot of them are still not into wanting a serious and committed relationship that badly. It's more like they're nonchalant, a lot of them. It's more like they're not that bothered. And it's like, you're gonna have to travel or move for a relationship, or get someone to move or travel to you. Most asexuals are not going to find someone suitable on their doorstep. It just doesn't happen. So for us, a lot of the time we need to use dating sites and dating apps. And obviously go out and go to meetup.com groups and socialize and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? So I would urge you, like, not just to be on dating sites and dating apps, but to obviously go out and go to local interest groups and stuff like that. And, you know, go and do different activities which you might meet someone through. But you've got to remember that a lot of the time people aren't going to social activities and meet up with someone. They're going just to socialize because that's what they want to do. Right. So I think it's very difficult at the moment, but you have to remind yourself that if you are a person that doesn't want sex, if you're a sex repulsed asexual, there's going to be some others like you in the world. I just really hope and think and believe that the more and more we get asexuality recognized as a sexual orientation globally, the more likely we are to find a person who can actually be in a loving, caring, committed relationship without sex. Right? There's a guy who watches this channel, which I think he's really beautiful looking person. He seems to have some care about me. But he was in message last night and he was saying nice things about um, you know, like he was talking about physical affection towards me, right? And I thought I'm not gonna obviously his privacy I maintain, but he was saying about kissing and cuddling, like to kiss and cuddle me. But do you know what I mean? He's abroad. I, you know, don't do long distance relationship. And all he really meant was that's his feeling about me. He didn't mean he wanted a relationship with me. And it just gets really disappointing that guys time after time again want something physical with me, but no committed relationship with me. And I'm sure if you're an asexual, you find this really difficult too sometimes, that people just want you for physical stuff. And I do like kissing and cuddling, don't get me wrong, but I would rather do that in a serious committed relationship. I do go to clubs and sometimes I do kiss guys there. But you know, I don't get attached to those guys. I usually don't see many of them again. Some I get attached to, but I mean, you know what I mean? I try not to. And that is hard, even allowing a guy to kiss me because I can get attached to him. But I know, like, for example, when I was in Oxford, that I was just kissing him and that's it. I'm never going to see him again, probably in my life. But I did have some feelings for him. I don't really have many scenarios where I get physical with a guy and I don't have some feelings for him because I'm a caring person. I just can't be that type of person who just doesn't have any care or feelings about someone. It's just not who I am. And I find it hugely disappointing. It's like, so you want to do physical stuff with me. I'm good enough for you to do physical stuff with me, but I'm not good enough for a relationship with you. But you have to remember, if you're thinking this way too, that it's not you that's the problem, right? It's them that doesn't want commitment. It's them that is avoiding deep intimacy. It's them that doesn't know what they want. It's them that isn't ready to settle down yet. It's not a reflection of you. But I know that you might be feeling this way too. You might be thinking, like, what's wrong with me? Or I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I think I'm very quirky and different. And obviously, if you're sex repulsed, it is a lot harder to find someone for a relationship. And we have to acknowledge that it is harder because a lot of people do want sex. Not everyone in the world wants sex, but the majority of people do. But there's some people that can't have sex for example, disability reasons. And those people deserve love just as much as anyone else, right? And obviously, that's not the same as asexuality. They still get the urges for sex and stuff like that. It's different, right? But we have to understand that are people out there that don't have sex or who can't have sex. And there are still people who are abstinent, not very often, but there are those people. So I think the best thing to do is to understand that not everyone in the whole entire world wants sex, because if you don't, then there's bound to be someone else that doesn't. And not everyone is into hooking up. There are some heterosexuals, for example, that do want more than just hookups. They want more than just sex. However, it is very difficult. And I think it's important to acknowledge your feelings and emotions if you are feeling it's hard and difficult. And sometimes it's better to have a break from dating because it can get too much and too overwhelming. You know, if all you're getting is people wanting hooking up, people wanting sex, and you want a lot more than that, you want a serious, loving, caring, committed relationship with true love, then you know what I mean? It's not matching up, is it? So sometimes it's better to have a break from dating And I really think it's important for your self-care and your self-esteem. Like, I don't usually have that many self-esteem issues these days. But when I'm constantly getting people just wanting physical stuff with me and not a real relationship with me, that is hard. That does eat away at you sometimes, especially if you haven't been out much. So as an extrovert asexual, if I don't go out much and I'm indoors a lot, I fester on stuff like this more. It hurts more because I'm not enjoying other parts of my life, because I'm indoors all the time and I'm extroverted. So I think it's important to remember that if you're feeling a bit down about dating, that you start to self-date again, take yourself out again, do stuff for you again, do stuff with yourself. So you're dating yourself. So then these people that want hookups and they want sex are not that important in your life. You make these people more important, and it's a bigger deal if you're not actually living your energetic, vibrant life on your own, because you're feeling like you're missing something and something's more lacking and you're feeling more drained. So, does this make sense? I hope so. So, in order to get back on track, you need to go out. Like, I've been out to Nando's today, which was really good. I wanted to go to the cinema, but the Odeon had got no water, so they had to shut all the Odeon cinema, and the film that I wanted to see is sold out till much later tonight at the View. And so I'm like, oh my giddy aunt, it's not good. So yeah, that was the end of that. I don't really, because my foot's hurting at the moment, so it's not in a good way. So I really need to be staying indoors now and do more book editing, but it's hard. So I think you have to really prioritize your self-care at times like this. See your friends and talk to other friends as much as possible, online in messages. Plow yourself into your own work and activities, but also make sure you're doing fun things, because if you're not doing fun things and your energy's drained, which I'm feeling like at the moment, it then makes you more, how can I put it? It makes you more lacking in energy, lacking in the way that way in life. And then you notice these people who want hookups and sex a lot more. It like eats away at you more because you're not happy in other areas of your life as much as you could be. You're not filling your own cup, as it were. So it's really important to recognize how you're feeling, right? It's okay if you feel down sometimes. It's okay if you feel negative emotions sometimes. You have to acknowledge them. It's not what we want to be in. It's not the mindset or state we want to stay in. But, it's important to acknowledge how we're feeling, and then only then can we overcome those feelings or deal with them, right? We can't bury, repress, or suppress. So it does get really difficult, and it's like, I don't understand how guys can do it. I don't understand why guys just want an older woman for hooking up. As an older girl who likes younger guys, it is really hard, because they just don't seem to want a serious relationship with an older girl just to hook up. It's like, I want a serious relationship with the younger guy because I'm not interested in older guys. I can't have a relationship with an older guy because it just is not going to work, because I'm just not attracted to them. I just don't really want to be physically close to them. And so I can't see myself with an older guy. Even if I kissed a guy that was a bit older than I would usually go for, like I did like some months ago, I couldn't see me ever being in a relationship with an older guy because it just wouldn't suit me. And it doesn't feel right. So I think, you have the added complication. And if you've got disabilities, mental health conditions and stuff like that as well, it can all mount up to being really hard. Like, I do have two unseen disabilities. I do have fibromyalgia. I do have anxiety. And so I've got to have a kind, caring guy who wants to take care of me to a certain extent. Like, I can look after myself, but I got to have a guy who's like, he would be like, oh, I can help carry the shopping and stuff like that for you and things like that. I think it'd just be really nice. And I think, like, I've got to have a kind, caring person. If a guy just wants to meet up with me for kissing or hooking up, it's not going to work, because there's no caring that. There's no care about me. And I think it's hard because, I'm sure you feel the same. I just want someone to really love me for my quirky personality and really want to be in a relationship with me for that reason, because your personality, you cannot replicate. Like, you can go and have sex with anyone, right? But you can't replicate someone's personality. You can't replace that person. And I think if someone is looking for a relationship because they're looking for the right personality to be with them, then the world would be a much better place if that was the case, right? So I think you have to look after yourself, treat yourself with tender loving care, and recognize your emotions. Recognize when you have positive emotions about dating, recognize when you have negative emotions about dating, recognize when things are not feeling so good. So you can take a step back and think, okay, I'm not feeling good right now. I'm feeling really pissed off and bad. Like, why do people just want me for my body? It's disgusting. I think it's disgusting. Like, I want to actually have a real relationship where I'm going out to like theme parks and zoos and aquariums with the guy, and we're eating in Nando's, and he doesn't give a shit about what people think about me and him being different age, like age gap love, as it were. I want to be able to go out with a guy in his 20s and hold hands around the aquarium and stuff like that and kiss, in front of people and hang out in Nando's together and go for walks together. I don't want to be like having secret sex hookups. It's just not what I'm interested in at all. I want something real with a real person who really cares about me. And I deserve that. And think you have to remember that you deserve that too. You deserve love and care and time and attention. You deserve someone who's into you, super into you. And you deserve someone who loves you for your personality. Like looks can fade and change. And also, people shouldn't be into people for their bodies. Like some people will get into a relationship and then years later, they can't have sex for some reason. And this happens to guys as well as women. And so, the fact you just want to get with someone and you have sex now, do you not think about the long term? Like, what happens when or if your partner can't have sex? Like, what if you're a person who likes hooking up and having sex and then all of a sudden you can't one day do that anymore, right? It's like, it's really hard. And yeah, so prioritize your self care, get back into self dating, do things that make you feel fun and excited and joyful, lots and lots of positive emotions, because that will counteract the negative emotions that you feel about dating. You can give yourself a break from dating for a while, whether that means deleting an app or just putting the app on take a break or suspending your account with them, or literally just not going on the app for a few days. If you're not talking to anyone anyway, or no one of any significance, so they don't really care about you, then it doesn't matter, does it? You can just be off the dating app. But as much as I think it's difficult to find someone, it doesn't mean to say you have to give up. You can, of course, give up, but if you give up, you'll never find the person you want to find. So I think it's important to take the time to just know not everyone's like that. But yeah, it can feel like that. When you're asexual sex repulsed, it can feel like everyone wants sex, everyone wants hookups, and it can feel pretty miserable if you're looking for love, right? It's like, what's out there? Like, oh, you want to hook up, right? You want to hook up. And some of them are even worse than that. Like, some of them are just like, oh, not just hooking up. They're like, oh, but I want to dominate you. You know what I mean? Like, let's, and some of them, one guy is like, on Badu, I can host you. Like if a guy says that in India, host you, it usually actually means that they can stay in your home and that, you can stay in their home as their guest. But if it's like on Badu with a guy who's in the UK saying, I can host you and, like hit me up, and what they put in their profile, it means basically, from what I can gather, that, you go to their place to have sex, but you can stay in their home. You know what I mean? And have some sexual fun and play games and that. There's quite a lot of guys that are just like, I'm into hook up, nothing serious, just want a bit of fun. And it's like so many guys are after that. And obviously there's a lot of guys who have pictures of their tops off. They show pictures of them in their boxer shorts where you can see that through it. And it's just disgusting and it just makes me sick. And it's like when a guy's got his chest exposed, it's like, I don't give a shit about your chest. I want to know about your personality. Some of them have nice chests, but like a chest is a chest, isn't it? I want to know, what's your personality like? Like, have you got a growth mindset? Are you into personal and professional development? Can I have intelligent conversations with you? Are you going to value my worth? Are you going to appreciate me? Are you going to care about me? Or is it all just about sex? You know what I mean? These are the type of things that go through my head, right? Because like if all a guy's into is his chest and the way he looks, like what does that say about him? It's like he's superficial, he's artificial, he's not well, no depth to his character, he doesn't give a shit. He's just looking for sex, 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 pretty much. So I think it's a minefield out there at the moment. I feel it's very difficult. I feel as well it's harder when Christmas comes up sometimes because you see a lot of couples out kissing under the mistletoe. You see a lot of people holding hands. See a lot of like more couples in the city going out shopping together. And I think you can end up thinking, oh, I wish I was in a relationship, or I wish I could have someone holding my hand in the city and going for like, like walks with me and eating out together and stuff like that. I think, like it can be difficult that way. So I'd urge you as well to go in asexual groups, message asexual people. Obviously, if you're a hyper romantic like me, it's even harder because not many people are hyper romantic, and a lot of the asexual community is less romantic, right? So I think that makes it harder. But I would say that is there anyone in any of the dating groups you're in on Facebook? Is there anyone that you haven't really thought about a possible relationship with before, or you have but you've not approached them yet? I think it's a good idea to approach those people to see just like how they feel about relationship. Like I spoke to a guy that was coming into one of my groups, and yeah, and then when I was talking to him, then he started saying he was aromantic, he thought, and I'm like, okay, so he's not interested. It's weird because he's come in one of my dating groups, yet he's saying he's not interested in romance. Like, really? It's like, okay. Like, most people that go into dating groups do have some romantic nature about them, in my opinion, but not all. Some aromantics go in there too. But yeah, so I think the difficulty is if you're a sex repulsed asexual and you're looking for an actual relationship, one is like if you are going to be with another asexual, for example, you have to be willing to travel or move to be in a relationship with them. But the other person has to be willing to do that as well, or at least one of you has to do that, right? And then you would have to like obviously work out how a relationship would work between you two. And like I said, I think there's a lack of urgency and a lack of how can I put it? A lack of really wanting commitment from a lot of asexuals, even like when they're in dating groups, a lot of them, as far as I can make out, they'd rather be on their own, or they've resided to the fact they're going to be on their own forever. That's what they think. But unless you've got a person who equally wants a relationship as much as you do, then it's not going to work because it's just going to be one-sided. So I think until there's a shift with asexuals really saying, hey, I really do want a serious committed relationship. It's one thing I want to do while I'm alive, and I want to make sure I get a right person for me. And then this person looks like this, this, and this. And, I think until you get more of that happening, then it's quite hard. Having said that, there's a lot more women asexuals, and there's a lot more women looking for relationships who are asexual. And as I like guys, that is obviously a no-no for me. And so I think that makes it harder. Like, there's one group that is very popular, for example, asexual singles, right? But a lot of the people I see there, they're either in America, which is completely out of the question because if I travel, it'll be in the UK only, or there's a lot of women. And some women are into women, but I'm not into women. So that just cuts down a lot of my options. And I think you have to know that there's places that you haven't visited in your life yet. There's people you haven't come across in your life yet, and one of those might be suitable for a relationship with you. And if you give up hope, then how are you ever going to find someone? Sometimes I get 50-50 on it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, 50% I want to stay single forever, 50% I want to be in a relationship. But sometimes a balance tips much more in favor of a relationship. Sometimes it tips more in favor of being single. So I don't want to get into a relationship with someone unless they truly want a relationship as much as I do, and they want it as importantly as I do. You know what I mean? because you need to have someone who wants to be in your life as much as you want to be in theirs. You have to have someone who wants to meet up with you, someone who wants to video call you, someone who wants to audio call you, someone who wants to be in your life, but unfortunately I feel that a lot of the people on dating sites and even people that come in my inbox, all they're looking for is a physical connection. And it's like, really? Is that it? It's not good, right? So we have to understand that sometimes people fantasize about people and they don't want them in reality. I get that a lot. I get guys who fantasize about kissing me or being intimate with me, but yet they don't want a relationship with me because I'm just like their physical fantasy. And so we have to understand that people's mentality, people's motivations can be very different to our own. And I really don't understand why so many people want hookups. I can understand if they're heterosexual, why they would probably want sex in a relationship, even though I wish there was less heterosexuals that wanted sex in a relationship. I can understand it, but just like meeting up with someone just to rip each other's clothes off and stick it in, I just don't get that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why would you do that with a stranger who could get pregnant as well, or a sexually transmitted disease off? And you know what I mean? And it's just like, I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But then I'm sex repulsed. So, yeah. But, like, I seriously think that if you are doing sexual stuff, it's much better to do it with someone who you truly love. But obviously, then you get more attached. So I'm guessing a lot of the guys that like hooking up, they don't want attachment and they just crave the sex and that's it. And they want an experience, But I think as people get older and wiser, you would have thought, but it doesn't work like this because there's guys who are older on dating sites in their 50s and they're still wanting hookups. But you would have thought that, people would actually think, okay, like I got X amount of years of my life. Like, how do I want to live it? Do I want to live it in terms of like really spending a lot of time with someone, getting to know them, really loving them, having a really good growth relationship with them? Or do I just want to go for meaningless hookups? Like, for years on end. You know what I mean? It's like, don't you want someone to actually care about you genuinely? You know what I mean? I just don't understand the mentality. I mean, I genuinely care about guys. Like, there's not anyone really guy I've come into contact with physically that I haven't cared about more than just a friend and more than just a physical thing. Because I'm not that type of person who can be in that situation without feeling anything. I just can't. And that's why a lot of the time I do get attached to guys in nightclubs and stuff like that, in even one-off kissing them and stuff, because it can be very difficult. I'm not attached to the guy in Oxford, that's really good for me, but a lot of the time I do because I genuinely care. There's not one guy, like I said, that not really. Maybe the older guy, I'm not so fussed about this shit, but I did like him. But then I found out he was still married from separated but married. It's like, I never thought I'd kiss a married guy in my life, and he deceived me on that. He lied. He said he'd been in the country X amount of years and he hadn't. He'd been in like 8 months and he had kids, and so that was really bad. But I did actually like him. So there's not one guy that I don't think there's any guy I've got physical with which I didn't have any feelings for whatsoever. I mean, feelings as in romance or aesthetic attraction, more than just like wanting physical stuff for the sake of it, And so for me, I feel like I've got a big heart and a lot of love to give the right person. I think what we have to do is we have to give that love to ourselves. We have to realize how special we are, and we have to not let these people drag us down and get despondent, because it does. And I think we have to take breaks from dating, and I think we have to just focus on other things. But I do think it's harder at this time of year. And I do think if you've been in a relationship in the past and you did like some things about a relationship and there were some good things about it, I think that can make it feel difficult as well, because there are some good things about being in a relationship that I do miss. Like, I do miss like having someone in my life like romantic really regularly. I miss being able to just kiss a guy when I want. I mean, me and the ex, like last long-term ex, one of the good things, there was a lot of passive, but one of the good things was he liked kissing as much as I did. I don't have to worry about when I was next kissing him. It's just natural, like kissing the street, kiss when we're going around aquariums, kiss when we're going around zoos, hold hands, cuddles. That's just what we were both like all the time. And so I missed the physical sensual stuff, but I knew I was in a serious commit relationship doing that. And for me, it's like if you have a serious committed relationship, you can have lots of affection regularly, right? But if you are just not in a relationship, you can't get it as often. And also it's not as meaningful. You know what I mean? It's completely different. For example, even with me kissing a guy in a club than it is kissing a guy who really loves me. It's a completely different feeling because a guy who really loves you and really cares about you, it warms your heart and it makes you feel so special and you feel secure so you can actually do more kissing in a relaxed state because you're not got to think, well, I'm never going to see this person again, and you're a bit more on edge when that happens. But when you're in a relationship, it's just a lot more natural, and like you've got a regular point of contact there, and you've got someone who you're always talking to usually, and there's always backwards and forth interaction, and there are benefits in that way to a relationship. But when guys just want to hook up, that's kind of sad, I think. I think it's sad that they don't even realize that, don't you even want someone to genuinely care about you? Do you not want someone to care about your emotions and feelings and your heart? You know what I mean? I don't understand that mentality. I really don't. I can't be having no feelings for someone and not care about them. To me, it's just like who I am. That's why I think it's hard if you are an asexual person who likes physical affection, even if you don't like the sex, because if you like physical affection, you can really miss that. Yeah, I'm getting a bit sad today. I am a bit sad today, a bit tearful, right? Because you can miss that. You can miss the holding hands, you can miss the cuddling, you can miss the kissing, you can miss all that stuff, but you can also miss just going out and on dates and just or watching a movie together and stuff like that. I am getting sad today. I'm in a sad mood. People, it doesn't get to me this much dating usually, but I'm in a sad mood. Um, so yeah. So I think it's really tough, and I thought I'd do this video to show you that I do understand how hard it is if you're a sex repulsed asexual. It's really, really tough. And, I don't have all the answers myself, but the answers I do have is to put yourself first, to look after yourself, to date yourself, to make yourself feel joy and happiness, and, connect with people who do care about you, friends, wives, and stuff like that. And to just remember that it's not a problem with you. If someone wants an empty, meaningless rendezvous, as it were, empty, meaningless hookup, what does that say about them compared to you genuinely wanting something real? It says that they're quite superficial, they're quite artificial. They don't really want someone to see the true, authentic them. They don't really care about other people. It's very selfish, I think, to just go out and specifically want hookups. I think it's really, really, really selfish. It's very using women's bodies as well. Obviously, some women like hooking up too. Some women like sex with guys. It becomes like a hobby and an addiction for them. I get that, right? I do understand there's another side to it. But for me personally, I just think it's so superficial, so artificial. So, how can you do that and not care about someone? Especially, I guess, because I've got unseen disabilities, but I know there's quite a few asexuals that do have mental health conditions or disabilities. It's you want someone to care about you as a person, your personality, and care about you. Because say you are, I'm not interested in hooking up, but say you are in that scenario, and say you do have disabilities or mental health condition, you need them to have a degree of care about that, a degree of empathy, a degree of caringness, because having sex is one of the most physically challenging things ever. And if you do have if you have difficulties with mental health or disabilities, it just makes it a lot more harder. That's why I don't understand why people do hook up, because it's you've got no care about the person. It's you have sex and then what, you just leave and you don't give a shit about the person. You couldn't care less if they got run over by a bus. You couldn't care less whatever happens to them. Couldn't care less if they died tomorrow. You know what I mean? There's no heart in it. There's no caringness. There's no feelings. What happened to true love? What happened to real relationships where you actually give a shit about the person? Where you think, like, I want to look after this person. I don't want to see them in pain. I don't want to see them hurt. I don't want to see them hurt physically or emotionally. I want to take care of them. I want to just hang out with them and spend time with them. I want to just be in their company and laugh with them and cuddle them because I care about them. What happened to all that stuff, right? It's in the 21st century. It's really tough out there. It's not easy because so many people are not even thinking properly. They're not thinking ahead. They're just thinking what's now. But the truth is, some people die young. I mean, I lost an asexual online friend this year. He's come, he bought my asexual meetup mastery course. He was in my Asexualise Academy club at one point. I've had video calls with him online, and he died this year. He was like, I think he was in his 40s or 50s, so a bit older. But like than most people who watch his channel are usually a bit younger than that. But and obviously you could argue that that age is around middle age or getting towards middle age, right? But potentially had another 50 years left in him, right? And so people can die younger these days, people can die at any age, right? And it's like, do you want to live a meaningless life where all you're doing is hooking up with someone to have sex and you don't give a shit about them? Where is the heart? Where is the morals? Where is the ethics? Where is the values? Like, I'm on a rant today because it's like, it's about time we got these ethics and morals and values back, isn't it? It's like, where do you see yourself in the future? Like, is that all you want to do? It's just like have a superficial, artificial relationship where all you're doing is just sticking something in someone. It's disgusting. I want to be with someone who genuinely cares about me. I want to be with someone who, like, if I'm upset or in pain or in health, it's like, hey, what can I do to help you? Like, how can I make your day better? How can I ease your pain? How can I make you feel good? How can I help you? Like, what can I do to help you day? Like, I don't expect a guy to fix me. That's not what I'm on about. But I expect or want a guy to have care about me. To, like, a guy who genuinely loves a girl, right? Because I want love. I'm not interested in just physical stuff. A guy who really loves a girl will not want her to be in pain. If she's like in pain, he'll want to ease her pain. He'll want to be there for her. If he sees her struggling with shopping, he'll be like, can I help you with that? If he, like, I've got a bad foot at the moment, right? It was really hard. I went out into the city, very optimistic. And then I was hobbling quite a lot back. And I was like, it'd be nice if I had a partner right now with me going, like, lean on me, darling, I'll help you get back home. It's fine, or get me a taxi, or like, who just like take care of me and be by my side and give me kisses, nice kisses, not sex stuff. And you know what I mean? It's like, is there any shopping? I can get the shopping for you. Like, I'm a strong guy. Let me get it, like, I'll give them the money. You go and get the shopping for me and stuff like that, like, take care of me. Like, you know what I mean? Not just like want to stick stuff in me. And it's just like, why can't I have a really nice, kind, caring girl? Like, guy. Oh my God, guy, I'm not into girls, but I'm a kind, caring girl, right? That's what I was going to say. I'm getting my words mixed up. Why can't I have a kind, caring guy like I'm a kind, caring girl? I'm not into girls. Just be blunt about that, right? Why can't I have a nice, caring guy because I'm a nice, caring girl? There must be some guys in the world that are nice. I've got a best friend guy, but he's into guys, right? So we're not sexually compatible, right? And so, like, he's a really nice person. He does love me in a friendship way. He's really good. He does care about me. You know what I mean? But we're not compatible sexually. So that's just like out of the question. But I'm not a guy. I'm a girl. But you know what I mean? It is really tough, and I just don't understand where people's mentality is these days. I'm like, surely you want something meaningful. Like, yes, you can go around hooking up with different women for like a year or whatever, but that's not going to actually do you any good in your life or in your future. It's not going to help you. Like, what? Where is the practical logic in that? If you want to become a better person, which surely you do in your life, then you want to get with a better person. Someone who's got morals, ethics, values, beliefs. Someone who actually wants to grow in unison as a team with you. Not someone who, like, just wants to stick it in with you, because there's no growth in that. It's just Anyone can do that. Don't you understand? If you are with a person who cares about you and actually wants to grow with you and you want a future together, that is something that is going to grow you as a person. And if you're with a person who's a good person, it makes you a better person for being with that person, right? A sensible, growth-minded guy, so business guy. Well, it depends. Some guys who are in business are no good at relationships and love and matters of the heart. They're so focused on the business, they don't know how to prioritize a relationship, how to prioritize seeing a girl, woman, whatever you want to call them, and they don't know how to have a serious commit relationship. They're very dedicated and focused on the work, but you don't understand. If you are as dedicated and focused on building a healthy, serious, committed growth relationship with a woman, for example, if you're a hetero guy, as you are about your business or seeing your mates, you have a much better core relationship, right? Your mates are going to go off, usually. They're going to get married and have kids of their own. Where's that going to leave you? Business, when you die, you can't take your money with you unless you want to stuff it in the grave with you, right? It's no good to anyone, right? So while you're here, why don't you make getting a serious, committed, healthy relationship a priority? Right? What do you want on your deathbed? A pile of money and a business that you've retired from because you're too old to maintain it anymore? Or maybe you've got an online business and you love and you never retire, but you still got something else missing in your life because that business can't give you love. That business can't understand your emotions, right? It can't understand you as a person. It can't give you the moral support. It can't give you the emotional support. It can't give you the emotional care, right? Why aren't you thinking long term? Why are you just thinking short term about sticking your bits in someone? It's disgusting. Start thinking long term. Start thinking, actually, if I'm with a girl and she's got standards, that's good because it makes me have higher standards myself and not settle for less than I deserve. By being with a woman who's intellectual, it helps me to be more intellectual, right? Which is better than shagging 10 women. Do you know what I mean? Like, why can't you see that the actual value in a serious committed relationship? Yes, you're seriously committed, so you've got to stop temptation, probably stop porn unless the person's okay with that, and stop going out with other women, stop shagging around other women, right? But you're getting someone who's growing with you, who's making you a better human being, usually, if they're a nice, kind, caring person, if they're intellectual and they want to grow, right? This is where you should be heading, not for meaningless sex. It's just pointless. It's not going to help you in your life in the future. You're just going to go from sex to sex to sex. And what does that give you? Nothing. And you're still sat at home thinking, I'm lonely, I'm upset at times, I'm insecure, because you haven't got that person who's backing you up as your bestest friend. Like, any relationship has to have friendship at the foundation of it. Because if you're not friends with someone first, you're not going to be invested in them. You're not going to give a shit about them. And that, unfortunately, is the truth a lot of the time. With me, I give a shit about people. Even if I kiss a guy in a club, I really like the guy. I still have a degree of care about him. I sometimes, often, usually, would like a relationship by, possibly with the guy I kiss in the club. But it just usually would never happen because they just want to hook up or have sex and they're not looking for the same things as me, or they're not even staying in this country, or they're hiding stuff and stuff like that, right? It's because I care about them. I don't usually kiss a guy unless I have some care, and I'm just a naturally caring person. So even if I don't know the person, I've never met him in my life before, I care. I care about his welfare. If like, say I kiss him and we bump heads or something, I care that his head might be hurt because I care. I can't just go and hook up with someone and not give a shit about them. I don't understand why people do that. And it just really pisses me off, to be quite frank. There's so many people doing that on dating apps and dating sites. To me, it's like they're wasting their effing life. It's like, why are you wasting your life? Why are you wasting your life doing that? What's the point? Right? And yes, you could have an experience, but the person you end up in a relationship with is not going to be the same experience as the person you've just had sex with or 20 times had sex with. It's like, what do you want in life? Do you want someone who's kind, caring, loving, and committed, or do you just want to shag around? I just don't get it. It's just disgusting and it's horrible. And I think as sex repulsed asexuals or anyone that's just not really putting sex, as a top priority, like, a lot of people do, I think it does make us angry. And I think we have a right to protest when we're angry. Having healthiness with yourself is like recognizing your negative emotions and ones that aren't so positive. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry about people treating you like this. It's okay to be angry about 20 or 40 or 50 or 100 guys in your inbox just wanting you for sex and your looks. It's okay to be angry about that, right? Because it is bullshit and disgusting and it hurts and it's pissing off. And it's not nice, is it? Like, it's just not nice. Let's face it, the majority of people, unless you're a person who's a woman, for example, who just loves the sex as much as guys, and sex is just your thing because you're a sex addict or whatever, fair enough. But you know what I mean? Most people want someone to care about them. It's like, where has the caringness gone in these type of people? You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? People will grow, people will change. Like in a serious committed relationship, you've got to be so comfortable with each other that someone's in the toilet next to you, you can hear them go to the toilet. You know what I mean? It's really intimate. You can hear their bodily functions, you can hear their bodily noises, you can hear when they pass wind, you can hear when their tummy rumbles. You know what I mean? This is how intimate relationships work. You're really intimate. You're like, know everything about their body, right? Even things you may not want or need to know, but you know it because you're living with them usually, or you're around them all the time, or you go to around each other's places. This is not the same when someone goes and hooks up with you for sex and they're just putting on an act a lot of the time, looking a certain way. They're not really being their true authentic selves, right? So I really urge you and encourage you, and that if you're a sex person reading or watching or listening to this now, or reading, well, sometimes subtitles come up, then like, think about, what do you want? A really nice, kind, caring, committed, loyal person to you who actually understands you and your emotions and can support you throughout life? Or do you just want a piece of someone's body? And how horrible is that, to just want someone's body? Are you going to look back on your deathbed and think, I'm so proud of myself, I just like shagged 20 women and I used them all for their bodies, it was so good, that makes me such a good person, and now I'm going to die alone because I'm not interested in a serious committed relationship, and I don't really have any friends because they've all gone off and got married in serious committed relationships, and I'm left on my own. But I shagged around, so it's great. No, it's not great. It's bad. It's really bad, right? It's like, I want a guy to really care about me, not want to have sex with me. And because I like younger guys, it's like, I don't want a younger guy for sex. I don't know how much more I can spell it out. And it's really hard if you're a sex repulsed asexual and you're putting in your bio time and time again, I'm not interested in sex. I'm not interested in a hookup. I don't like sex. And they're just not even reading it. It just wastes your time and it wastes their time. Because if they want to hook up and you don't want that, why haven't they read your bio? So one of the best questions to ask is, did you read my bio? And yes, usually it puts them off, but you want to be put off, right? Because you want them to be put off and you want to be put off them if that's all they're after, But it is really difficult, right? I mean, there must be, I know there are some guys in this world who feel really lonely, depressed, and miserable, and they would probably long to have someone who would just love them, be kind to them, care about them, be empathetic towards them, and understand them emotionally, and spend time with them and talking to them, right? But you should be feeling those things without needing to be depressed or without being depressed. You should recognize what you've got in front of you. If you've got someone, like, some people just don't understand what's in front of their noses. Like, I've seen this in actual groups, and people not I mean, obviously I've had scenarios like this myself, but if I think about even other people, like, they'll be like, oh, I can't get anyone for a relationship. I'm like, but this person is right in front of you. They care about you. They're nice. They're kind. They're caring. Why don't you give a shit about them? Right? Instead, you're moping over someone who doesn't care about you. You're moping over someone who couldn't give two shits about you. Whereas this person right in front of you, they're kind, they're caring, they really care about you. They want to know what's happening in your daily life. They want to know how you're doing. Right? So why aren't you looking at that person? What? Because the other person's more exciting going for a shag? It's not going to do you any good. How's that going to do you any good? Oh, what? You have sex, what, for 5 minutes? But you're still left empty inside. If you want a serious, like, if you do want someone serious in the way of, like, understanding your emotions, understanding you as a person. Do you know what I mean? Like, please get your act together. It's ridiculous and it's really hurtful. Women are not a piece of meat. They're not some body that you can just stick your thing in and out of, and that's it. And they don't have any feelings or emotions. Do you know what I mean? Usually, women fall in love more through an emotional connection anyway. Asexuals in general do, because we're not so inclined toward physicality or genitalia, right? But a lot of women in general, it's known that women tend to need an emotional connection, and that's how they love, whereas guys do tend to love more through a physical connection, excluding the asexual community, I would say, but we're talking about heterosexual guys here, right? So you have to think about what you really want in your life. But I think it's so bad there's so many shallow guys on dating apps and dating sites that are literally so selfish, and that all they want is to just hook up, use a woman's body, and then get on with the next one. And they just want a sexual experience. It's like, whatever happened to falling in love? Whatever happened to the first love is your true love and the one you want to spend the rest of your life with? Whatever happened to those type of things? Whatever happens to, like, right, you found a really good person for you. Yes, you can go around and try 20 to 40 other women, but it doesn't mean to say they're going to be any better than the person you're with in the first place. By that time, you've hurt the person. By that time, the person's walked out of your life. By that time, the person's gone, right? All of us in our life with dating apps, we could all scroll through hundreds and hundreds of people. We could all have, if we wanted to do that, have sex with multiple people, right? And anyone can do that. It's easy, right? But what is good usually is not easy. What's good usually is hard. In other words, if you want a healthy relationship in the future, you need to work for it. You need to work hard for it. And you need to understand that you need to care about the person more than your ego. You need to care about the person more than just a body. You need to care about their well-being and their welfare and their mental health and their spiritual health, as well as their physical health. You need to care about them as a whole being. This means no superficial, artificial crap where you're just wearing the latest clothes, looking good, showing your naked chest off. And that's what a woman's supposed to like and love, and that's what's supposed to help a woman out. Why do you want to get into a connection in the first place with a woman? What's the point if all you're going to do is use her body and then you don't give a shit about her? And that's all you want her for. It's disgusting. I'm really ranting and raving today because I think it's disgusting. I think it's about time we had this discussion. And it's about time, if we feel angry, we express our anger, because it is disgusting. It's like, I don't know what the world's coming to when all I see on dating apps, I don't think everyone's like this in the world. That's why sometimes it's better to go off dating apps for a bit, because dating apps are just giving you the people that in the bulk are after sex. And that's all they're after. It's horrible. It's absolutely disgusting. But it does get pissing off because Badoo that I'm on is for asexuals too. It has an asexual category. It's not like it's not for asexuals, but with the people on there, it's really not for asexuals, because I've come across on there 8 people, guys on the asexual spectrum. And I don't think there was 2 that were foreign. One was in my city, but he had a beard and smoked. And there was another guy not too far away from me, basically the same as that. They're no good. And I don't know whether they needed sex in a relationship or not. But the rest of the asexual guys that I spoke to on there, they all seem to need sex still. And it's like, well, you're no different to anyone else, really, are you? You know what I mean? That I come across on there. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not interested in having sex, but if I was, it's like, I'll just take my pick of all the hundreds of people that come in, shall I, in my inbox, and pick the best looking one and the one I find most super attractive, not just because one's asexual. You know what I mean? I just it's not good. I'm not interested in sex, right? I do have strong desire to kiss. I do need kissing, but I don't need sex. I'm not interested in sex. I'm really not. I forget, because I'm asexual and sex repulsed, I forget how much people like sex out there. To me, it's not natural to want sex. And so when these people are in my inbox, they haven't even read my bio and they're like, I just want to hook up. To me, I'm not even thinking that way. I just don't think about having sex. It doesn't enter my head, and it just seems more and more, I've been asexual all my life but didn't realize it. But I only found out I'm asexual in 2014. But the longer I'm on dating apps and dating sites, I just forget that other people want sex at all half the time. And I'm like, what? You want sex? Why? Why would anyone want sex? I don't get it. And so I forget that most people are not the same as me, that most people are not asexual on dating apps. I do forget that. And I'm thinking, what? Because I always remember when I was a teenager, which I still think I am, really. And I live like a teenager. And And so whenever I was a teenager, even, I had strong feelings for guys. Like, for 2 years, I would have love feelings for a guy. And, like, and when I felt, feelings for a guy, I would always think about holding his hand, kissing and cuddle him, and being present with him, and going out on day trips with him, and doing stuff like that, and walking the streets with him, holding hands and stuff like that. I would never ever be thinking about having sex with him. Ever. It just didn't enter my brain. I wouldn't even contemplate that. Like, even before I found out I was asexual, I never thought like that. It wasn't something that I ever thought about, and it just makes me really sad. What is worse is when I get someone in my inbox that I've known a little while online, right? And I have got some attraction to them, and they've expressed they've got an attraction to me, but that's all it is. Just like they want to kiss and cuddle me. They don't want an actual relationship with me. I find that harder, and that happened earlier today. Well, last night, today, blah blah blah. Like in the last 24 hours, and that really hurt me. I don't think the person intended to hurt me at all, but it does hurt when it's like, oh, well, I would like to kiss and cuddle you. It's like, but you're not interested in a relationship. Like, usually, if a guy comes in my inbox and starts talking about kissing and cuddling me, for me, it automatically makes me think a guy's interested in a serious, committed relationship with me, because it's like, why would you go in someone's inbox and start saying, I want to kiss and cuddle you, unless you're really seriously interested in them? But that's because I come from the mentality of, I don't say those things to someone unless I would actually want to be in a relationship with them. Because I just, like, or if I was going to say something like this, I would preempt, I would say something before, like, just to let you know, I don't actually want a relationship, but I do find you very kissable and very huggable. When I look at you, I think you're very aesthetically attractive, but it's not, I'm not mentioning this because I want a relationship with you, but I just wanted to tell you how beautiful you are. Like, that would be better. If they're going to be like that with me, it would be better to kind of warn me that they're not talking about relationship. They're not interested in a relationship with me, but they wanted to tell me that they feel that way towards me because they're very attracted to me or something, which would be more honest, and it wouldn't put me under any, like, what can I say? Wouldn't put me any under, when it muddles your mind up because you're not sure, you don't have clarity. It would make it more crystal clear. That's what I'm trying to say. I think people should be a lot more crystal clear. Obviously, the people who want hookups, eventually, when they say they just want to hook up, that's crystal clear. But it's like, why even bother having messages with me if that's what you want to do? Why? And not looking at my bio is disgusting. And so I find it a lot more hurtful. If, like, I've known a guy a while, and then he's saying stuff to me, because I automatically don't go around saying stuff like that to a guy unless I really like him and probably want a possible relationship with him. Like, you know what I mean? I guess that's, like, not what everyone's like. Some guys are just, like, say stuff like that to women, probably say it to loads of women. And so, I find that really quite hurtful. I don't think they intend to hurt me, but I just think it's hurtful. It's because, like, it's like, well, you like me for my body, for the kissing and the intimacy, but you don't want me for my mind and my intellect and my personality. Really? Okay, which I think is a lot more important. But there you go, and so I think it's very difficult. But I think you have to understand that it's not a reflection of you. It's just like a lot of people on dating apps do specifically go there to hook up. And it doesn't mean to say you're a bad person or there's anything wrong with you. In fact, it just means a lot of the people on there are shallow. They How else can you put it? They're shallow if all they do is want to use a woman for her body and physical stuff. Like, it is shallow, isn't it? Like, how are they caring about the person? They're not. They're just, all they're interested in is their genitalia and what they can get out of a woman physically. I wish the porn industry would just die, but it doesn't. It just gets bigger, unfortunately, and people pay more and more that stuff because I just think it's disgusting. It's like using women's bodies, and it's no good because it sends a damaging message to guys that, oh, it's okay to use women for their bodies, but it's not. So I think it's just important to recognize that I have these frustrations as well as you, and it is really difficult out there. And I want you to know, I do understand you. If you're an asexual that's really into finding a relationship, you'll find it so hard. Then I would urge you to try and look more within asexual groups. I mean, I run asexual groups myself. I run 6 asexual groups, and I can't find someone for a serious relationship who's suitable for me in the asexual groups. And you might ask, why is that? One is because I'm a hyper romantic and there's not many of us around. 2 is I am super into kissing, and again, there's less asexuals that are into kissing than, and not as much as I am. 3 is I'm an older girl that likes younger guys, so that is difficult. 4 is I don't really get that attracted to British guys. I usually get attracted to foreign guys. 5 is the age group I'm usually attracted to is early to mid 20s. 6 is like, yeah, I'm all over social media. I'm very public about being asexual, and that's a big deal. And some people don't like that, right? 7 is I probably do get attracted to guys based on looks and first and foremost, and I think that makes it harder probably to find someone who's got the right personality, you know? And, and also, not only do I not want sex, which is a huge deal breaker for a lot of guys, I don't want marriage either. And so because I like Indian guys, that's really hard because the majority of Indian guys, all of them want marriage. And I really don't want marriage. I still want a serious commit relationship without marriage. I don't agree with marriage these days. I didn't used to be like this, but these days I don't agree with marriage. I don't like marriage. I don't like the concept of it. I think you should be able to be serious and committed with someone without a piece of paper. And people do change. People fundamentally do change. And if they change and they change so much they become two different people and you're just not compatible anymore, if you do have to go through divorce, then it's really messy when you've been married. Would never want to get married with a view to divorce. But if you end up not being happy in the relationship, you can't get out of it easily because you're tied into a contract. And I don't want that type of risk. That's just not good. It's not nice. And I think, it's bad enough if you have to split up without splitting up homes or and paying for stuff like that and having to deal with solicitors. I just think, and I don't like being tied down by jewelry either. I just don't like the whole thing. So, and I don't want kids. There are some asexuals that want children, and there's, and a lot of heterosexuals, they've either want children or they've got children, and I've never wanted that lifestyle. I've never wanted kids, and I prefer to live separately. And the majority of guys want to live with someone. So yeah, I do have a lot of obstacles, you could argue, or challenges where getting a serious committed relationship is harder. But there's a lot more women these days that are career focused and less that want children. I don't think this is just unique to me. I see more and more guys on dating sites that all say I want kids or want kids soon. I'm thinking, but a lot of women have changed. Even in the UK, a lot of women are more career minded. Some of them don't want kids anymore. They've changed their mind, or they never want them in the first place because they now realize they can have careers and do different things with their life, and they're not into the housewifey children thing. I think maybe that's why a lot of guys are more single these days, because what they're looking for in women is not actually compatible so much with the 21st century woman who can own her own home, who can have her own or rent her own home, who can have her own money, who can do her own career. She doesn't need a guy to be paying the way for her anymore. She needs a guy to step up to the plate, be kind, caring, and be a healthy masculine guy where he's protective of her in a nice way, not a possessive way, where he's caring about her heart and emotions, where he's strong for her, where he's secure in himself, where he knows what he wants, where he's boundary driven with other women and stuff like that. Right? So things have changed a lot. And plus, a load of guys just have, I'm not being funny, but a load of guys are just covered in facial hair bits, and it's really not attractive. I'm thinking, I wonder if that's got a lot to do with why a lot of the guys on dating sites are single, have got loads of facial hair. You got loads of facial hair is another reason why you're single, because I can't see how that many women like facial hair guys. Maybe some women love guys hairy chest, which I don't even like. I like a no chest, no hair chest, no hair on the guy's chest. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't even speak today. And I like no chest hair on a guy. That's what I was trying to say. But if you look at a lot of the films still have guys with no facial hair. I wonder why, because they're super attractive. And it's like I look at guys on dating like thinking, like, if you shaved off your beard and didn't have to have kids, maybe you would have more options as well. Because like if you're wanting kids or wanting kids anytime soon, it's like really like a lot of women, they still like very young and they still want to live their life anyway, even if they do want kids later on. I can still physically have kids. I don't want them. I categorically don't. And so, I just like, I just despair sometimes. It does get to the point where you want to tear your hair out, right? But I just think you have to know that not everyone is completely sex mad. Not everyone's into hooking up. Not everyone has to have sex in a relationship, because you must know other asexuals that don't want sex in a relationship. They are out there. I just think they're not probably as proactive as they should be. There's a lot of asexuals that are giving up the idea of getting into a relationship or giving up finding someone. But if people keep giving up finding someone, we'll never find the right asexual relationship for each other, because it takes two to want the relationship as badly as each other. If more and more asexuals give up on looking for love and relationship, then there's less opportunities for the few people that are serious about getting into a relationship to get into a relationship with another asexual, because a lot of them have just given up. They've given up making time, energy, and effort to search for someone. And that means that all the people that are left who are still trying to make time, energy, and effort are just left thinking there's no one for me, because no one else is making time, energy, and effort. You know what I mean? And any relationship is work, right? It's better to work with someone in a relationship that's kind, caring, sensitive, appreciates the other person, wants to work at things, wants to grow together, than just have meaningless sex. You know what I mean? It's just pointless. But we have to remember, as sex repulsed asexuals, we are, I would still say, a minority in terms of asexuality, but we're very much we're more, I think there's more asexuals that are sex repulsed than not sex repulsed. I think there's probably about 25% that are sex positive and sex, like, okay with sex, but I think there's still quite a large proportion of asexuals that don't want sex. But there's also a large proportion of asexuals that are aromantics. So they lack romantic attraction, lack sexual attraction, don't want any relationship. So that makes things harder for us. Like I said, there's more women than guys. So as I'm a woman that likes guys, then that reduces it as well. But I think it's better to try and look for another asexual person as much as possible. And I think you have to remember that if you do end up single forever, that is still a really good thing, because it's better to get into no relationship than to get into the wrong relationship. And you always have to think that God and the universe and the world has got bigger plans for you. And sometimes that's why we don't find the right person for us, because in this lifetime or at this particular point in our life, we are meant to do other things with it. And we are not meant to actually be in a relationship. And we're not meant to find the right person or people for us at the moment. So we always do have to flip it around and be a bit optimistic and keep our optimism, which is kind of hard in a piranha dating world, because that's what it feels like. It feels like they're piranhas a lot of the time, like, give me sex, ah, rah, 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 rah. Give me sex, rah, rah, rah. It's like, oh my lord. It's like, really, is that all you want in your life? I find it really difficult that the younger guys, they like an older woman just for sex. It's like, why do you want to use an older woman for sex? Like, me or any woman, use any woman for sex. I don't get it. Like, if you are a person who genuinely likes someone older, for example, you're not going to be able to have it. Even you're not going to be able to have a relationship in the future with someone you're at an age or younger. It's not going to be satisfying for you. So why don't you start, as you mean to go on, and find someone for a serious commit relationship who's the age bracket that you actually want to have in the end? Like, there's no point in me getting into a relationship or trying to be around with a guy who's not actually the age I want, because I'm not going to have a future with him, because it's not going to be the right type of guy for me. I can't see myself with a guy anywhere near my birth certificate age, and definitely not older. So it's better to start as you mean to go on. And if you're a person that genuinely likes older girls, then you need to find an older girl for a serious committed relationship. Why beat around the bush and just test things out and have sex with people? Why not go for what you really want in life? Why not do a shortcut and go, that's what I really want. I want a serious committed relationship with an older girl, an older woman for life. I don't want to piss around with a ton of other women. They're not suitable for me. Go for what you really want in life, isn't it? So anyway, so prioritize your self-care, go on self-dates, know that you are not the problem, you just don't fit what other people are looking for. If people are going to use you for sex, it's not something you want to be part of anyway. So you thank your lucky stars that then they let it be known that they're not the right person for you sooner rather than later, and just make sure you're doing things that make you feel energized, happy, good, and then it won't matter so much about all these people that are just being superficial, artificial, shallow, and who don't really give a shit about you. I think it's sad, but like, if you fill your own cup up and you're doing things that are exciting and good and fill you with joy and happiness and peace in your life, then you're gonna still feel good no matter what they're doing, and you're just gonna be like, whatever, next. And remember, for everyone that is not a good fit for you, and for everyone person that disqualifies themselves from being the right person for you, you're one step closer to finding the right person rather than the wrong person. Because if they disqualify themselves from being the right person for you, in other words, they're not the right person for you, it leaves a lot more opportunities for the right person to come along for you. I hope that makes sense. But remember, get the support of family, friends, spend some time by yourself, spend some time around other people that do love you and care about you, even if it's not in a friend, even if it's a friend and it's not in a romantic or relationship sense. And just keep loving you, loving your own body, kissing and cuddling yourself, and having things around you that make you feel good. Drink nice drinks, like nice warm drinks like chamomile tea, or have nice furry hot water bowls, have a beautiful shower, anything that makes your body feel good, that your senses feel good, you feel good, so that you're counteracting all the dating negativity with some positivity, some warmth and kind and caringness towards your own self and your own body and your own mind and your own soul. Because you need to counteract all that negative energy with good positive energy to make you feel much better and happier. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with anyone you think may benefit from it. And always keep your sparkle, keep your ace, and I'll see you soon next video live stream. Lots of love. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode, and grab your copy of Asexual Perspectives on Amazon. Makes a great Christmas present. Go get that one, and Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, autobiographical, on Amazon. Lots of love to you. Take care. Bye.